Inertia starter motor, which has the teeth off the engine, and we have to crank it to turn on the car. But we are putting on a new pre-engage starter motor on the car, which is way more faster and already has the teeth on the engine. So we're just going to show you the new pre-engage starter motor. It's a bit, yeah. So it's way more new, way more modern, doesn't have any rust or anything, which is good. It's a bit smaller than the one that we have in the car, which is better.
And this came from a UK parts supplier who's actually from New Zealand, which they import from the UK, from this power light to New Zealand, and then we can order it into Australia, and instead of paying about $360 postage, we only pay about $60 postage, so it was a good cost saving. Unlike the old starter, so the old starter has a solenoid there and then the actual Inertia starter there. This has a solenoid built in as well as a step down motor. We will probably end up just daisy chaining the original solenoid to this, and if you leave that white wire there connected to the power cable, you don't, then it will kind of just be the active wire straight from the original. So we'll just take the big cable from the original solenoid, so then it's a single wire setup, because the ground will come from the body of this connecting to the car. So if you leave that white wire there connected like that, all I need to do is put on one cable and I can use the original solenoid to activate the new solenoid and start it that way. Now if the original solenoid was bad, you could take that off and then move all the wiring from that onto this and then use the white cable as the active. But since our solenoid is very new and works fine, save us a bit of effort, we'll just take that wire down, put it on here, and it should be a fairly straightforward process.
So the first step we have to do is take the wire off the old one and put that wire to connecting to the new one.
So I happen to guess the right size, so if anyone's wondering, a 9/16 seems to work. And I just guessed that size by chance. And that's just to take off the power cable. And I'm doing this while the engine's cold, so I don't burn myself on this exhaust pipe just yet. Luckily, because the car can't start, the only way it'd be hot is if I hand cranked it using the old-fashioned chitty chitty bang bang style hand crank, which does actually work. That's how I managed to park the car when it's failed, is by hand cranking it and getting it here and parking it until we could get the part, which we now have. And if this all goes to plan and I get this old starter motor out and the new one works, anyone that does need the old starter motor can reach out to me. I actually have two of them, both in not working order, but someone who's really good with old starter motors might be able to pull the pieces out of both of them and make something of it. So if someone has a Rover P480 or a MG or a Jaguar or any of the cars that are compatible with this kind of starter motor, you can let me know, and I'm more than happy to arrange to get it to you if it can help you out, especially if you're in the Sydney region, even better.
Action.
Okay, so there's only actually two bolts that hold this on, one there that's easy to get to and the one that's really difficult to get around to. They're kind of like bending your body over the hood of the car. You probably could get under the car and jack it up, but I have done this all from the top before. So I'm going to see how far I can get with that. And if you're wondering, this happens to be a 9/16 as well. Seems to fit. I don't know if that's exactly the size, it just is what goes over these very tired, worn out nuts. And so that seems to work for me to get this off. You might have slightly different. I don't know if these are original or if someone at some point put different ones on. I think the starter motor on this car's had many issues, but they look fairly original. And this does grip them well. It's probably not the exact, you can probably get a socket that's exactly that shape. This one obviously isn't, but it grips it, so works fine. Now I've got to find the second one, which I'm assuming is down where I can't reach very well. Yeah, down there. Okay, I'll try and get down there and get that one too. Yeah, there's not much turning room there is the biggest issue. How do I do this? Okay, maybe the other direction. Yeah, there's nowhere to turn there. That's the only tricky bit, and I don't have special tools, so if I had one of those sort of snake neck type ones, they'd probably be easy to get into it. So I'm just going to have to be really patient and do it millimetre by millimetre. I guess there's no rushing this process. Just a little bit at a time. I just noticed that wire's not where it belongs. That should be in that holder. Not sure why that's jumped out. I think it's a fuel line or something. Or a vacuum line. That should be in that. I'll sort that out later. I only notice these things in your head shoved inside the engine bay. Okay, so this will take a little wriggling, but you see it's already starting to come loose. It's just a really awkward position. Hopefully I've loosened enough I can try and get it with my fingers now. Get in there. I don't want to lose this because it's a weird size and I don't have any nuts that are like this, so I don't want to hunt for a replacement. So yeah, got them both out, and now I'll just move all these tools out of the way and we'll try and lift it out. So this is the most awkward part, taking this out. I've taken the bolts out, taken the cable off. I've done this a few times and I've heard mixed reviews from people who have these cars on the online forums. Some people's exhaust pipe interferes with taking it out. Mine doesn't, but I've had to repair an exhaust leak, and since then I haven't checked the clearance since I fixed the exhaust leak, which means I'm either going to find out that it won't clear past the repair on the exhaust leak, which means I've got to then chip away all the exhaust leak, take the starter motor out, get the new one in, and then re-repair the exhaust leak. I am really hoping I can somehow wriggle this thing out of the way and get it out without having to redo that exhaust leak, because that was something that was a long time coming. So let's see. So it just pulls out, and yep, it is hitting into the exhaust pipe, but I think if I can get an angle out of it, I might be lucky enough to try and angle it out. It's really a fairly an annoying process. Use two hands for this. If I can get it past, it's kind of caught on the flywheel now. If I can get the teeth uncaught, I might be able to just squeeze it past here. It's a heavy old thing too. It's a pain, a real pain to get out. So it's kind of wedged in a really awkward spot, but I need to get some clearance. fingers caught. Manually roll this out of the way. And that clinging noise you can hear is the fiberglass style exhaust repair kit, and that stuff is horrible. It goes hard when you put it on, it heats up and it goes hard, but it flakes off like little fibers and you don't want to breathe that stuff in. So I hate it, but it's effective, unfortunately. So I'm just avoiding breaking off bits of it because it's really horrible to deal with. And we've got it out. So, old starter is much larger than new starter. So the new one's going to be much nicer. I'm actually going to swap to clean gloves now for the next step because I don't want to put grease all over the nice new starter. And then we'll put that in. Okay, so we're going to try and put this in, and fingers crossed it all fits and it goes in the way I would hope. We don't know. I don't know if it's going to clear. I'm praying it does. At this stage it's knocking on something, so that's not a good sign. Maybe I'll flip it over and see if it goes in the other way. Fingers crossed. Okay, that went in easier. Let's see if I can get this lined up properly and cleared. Okay, so that is in. I'm just going to hand fit one of these nuts. I'm hoping that doesn't bash into it. No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh, it's very tight working here, and that's where I'm doing this one. Otherwise I would have had Lockie do it, but it's a very difficult position to get into this one, unfortunately. And you're playing around right next to this fiberglass cloth that's around the exhaust. It's not the best thing for kids to be touching. So I'm going to try and get as much of this done myself, but Lockie will be learning on the job with this one. So that's that done. Now I'll do the other nut. If I can reach it all the way down here. That's a bit tighter. Hopefully that's going on. I don't know why it's so tight. I'm going to redo that. I don't like it when it starts to bind up. It shouldn't bind up, otherwise you cross-thread it. Okay. Let's get this tool. See if I make it a bit longer, will it give me more reach? Okay, get to this one. It's in a very awkward position. It's a bit short for that. Okay, that's not going to work. Try the smaller one. Oh. I think that gets it. So you just got to be patient. This is going to take a lot of turns. There's no quick way. It is what it is. Just keep doing it until it gets it in. size and how many turns that's taking. I'm just going to look at it. Okay, so now we have to put this onto the new starter, and because of the weird positioning, it's all the way in there just to make life harder. On the other side to where it was originally with the old starter. I don't know why it's manufactured in a slightly different way, but it is. So I've got to try and reach down there without dropping everything and get that on. Wish me luck. So I don't want to drop these. I've got to spread this on, keep the white wire that was on also. So put this one all the way down there. It's going to be by feel because I can't really see what I'm doing. I have a feeling the first challenge that I wasn't expecting is the hole is not big enough. I have a feeling that this flange is too skinny to go onto that, which is going to be my first problem. So this hole, I think, is smaller than where it's going, which you would hope isn't the case, but it appears it is. So I'm going to have to somehow make this hole a bit bigger. Bear with me. So I'm going to see if I can just gently make this a bit bigger, because it's only slightly too small. So I'm just using this round file, I don't want to take too much material off it, because the more metal, the more contact, but it needs to be big enough to get over without binding up on the threads of the new one. And I would guess that that's about right. Let's see how far this goes in to there. Yeah, so we probably have made it big enough now. Okay, let's see. I'll give that a try and see how we go. No, still a bit too small. I'll keep going. Try again. Almost there. It just still doesn't want to get past that first lip where the threads start. Still a little bit undersized. Still pretty tight there. I think it might just be big enough, but I'll do a bit more. I don't want to wait. Put on and off. Bigger hole now. Then tight. Still doesn't want to go on. It's interesting. The hole must be considerably bigger. We'll keep going. Firm from there. Okay, I finally got it on there. I probably should tighten it. I would have been smart if I had have got the size of it before I put it on. So now I'm going to do this to be able to tighten it. I could have sized that up before putting it on, but I was just so excited that it finally fit that I should have done that logical step first. It doesn't seem to. Let's try this one. And I don't think you have to do this too tight, just tighten up. That makes contact. It has like a split washer, a spring washer in there, so you don't want it over tighten, but we want it tight enough to make contact is the main thing. Okay, so now technically we should be able to turn the key and it should start. Hopefully we will find out that this starter motor has a pinion and gear set that will engage this flywheel, and if not, then we're kind of stuffed and need to fix the original startup, which I'm really hoping is not the case. So let's try and turn this over. Okay, fingers crossed. I forgot to put the choke on. Let's do this again. That's how the car will start now. So, turn it off. Now, maybe have a look at the key. Let's see how long back around here. Do you want to do the honours?
Yes.
You start the car.
I will do the honours.
Turn.
Is that way?
Turn. Let go, let go. Yep. That's it. It works. Job well done.
If you guys want to see more Lockie and Lukey videos, like and subscribe to see more. Toodaloo!